Hello and welcome back to another week in new genre books. Thanks for stopping by, we're always glad to have you here. My name is Amelia and from Locus magazine I'm about to tell you the top new science fiction, fantasy, and horror books being published the week of July 4th, 2023. Happy July 4th, and whatever else happens that day, if you're the type to celebrate. I've got links for timing if you want to skip to your favorite category, be it science fiction, fantasy, or horror. We love them all. Starting with science fiction books this week, we have 3 science fiction titles being published. From Cait Heartfield, we saw Assassin's Creed, The Resurrection Plot, out from Aconite in trade paperback and audio. This is a science fiction novel, a gaming tie-in by a highly recommended author. The conspiracies of the Templars reverberate across 19th century Europe as they seize control of the future, and only the Brotherhood of Assassins can hold them back in this globe-trotting adventure from the Assassin's Creed universe. From Jack Campbell, we saw Implacable, out from Ace in hardcover ebook and audio. This is a military science fiction novel, the 3rd novel in the Lost Fleet Outland series, after Boundless and Resolute. As far from explored space as any human has ever been, Geary and the Alliance fleet are on their own, protecting a diplomatic mission in a territory belonging to an alien species with still unknown motives. And to be fair to the aliens, I think it's not really on the aliens to explain themselves, but that's just me. From Sharon Lee and Steve Miller, we saw Salvage, Reiche, out from Baen in hardcover and ebook. This is a science fiction novel, a new novel in the best-selling Liaden series. With origins in the old universe, the malevolent, acquisitive intelligence of Tinsori Light sought to infect others with itself and send those agents out into the wide new universe to infect even more. For centuries, 2 heroes stood between Tinsori Light and the vulnerable universe, Lightkeepers Jen Sin Yosfilium and Lorith of the Sandarat. But they're merely human. About the authors, Sharon Lee and Steve Miller are a husband and wife team who have written dozens of short stories and 20+ novels, most set in their Liaden universe. Next up, horror, we have 1 title in horror this week. From Verity M. Holloway, we saw The Others of Edenwell, out from Titan Books UK in trade paperback and ebook. This is a horror novel. A dark spirit haunts an isolated Norfolk retreat in this unsettling and sinister historical horror novel set in the early 1900s. Holloway is a writer based in East Anglia who writes fiction and nonfiction, and whose story, Cremating Imelda, was nominated for a pushcart. Next up, fantasy, we have 6 titles this week. From DJ Butler, we saw Between Princesses and Other Jobs, out from Baen in hardcover and ebook. This is a fantasy novel. Indrajit and Fix are the founding partners of The Protagonists, a jobber company in Kish. Since the 7 great families of Kish farm out all tasks they in the city need doing, a jobber might one day unblock a well, the next man a toll gate for the fare, and on the 3rd, hunt down a murderer on the loose, all in a corrupt old city that isn't so much governed as kept barely in bounds. From Sarah Cawkwell, we saw Marvel Wastelanders, Star-Lord, out from Aconite in trade paperback and ebook. This is a fantasy novel, another tie-in, which we don't normally do much of, but it feels like a light week. The Guardians of the Galaxy return to Earth to save the world from Doctor Doom in this exhilarating novelization of the acclaimed Marvel scripted podcast. Star-Lord and Rocket are a little older, a little slower, and a lot saltier than they were during their glory days. When they crash land in the desolate Midwest, they soon discover that Earth isn't what it used to be either, 30 years after Doctor Doom seized control and created his new domain, the Wastelands. From Melissa de la Cruz, we saw After Death, out from Hyperion in hardcover ebook and audio. This is a young adult vampire novel. After defeating Lucifer and saving the world, Schuyler Van Allen woke up in an entirely different reality and learned she had to do it all over again, which, if you're gonna have to repeat a day Groundhog Day style, of course it's gonna be a Monday. Okay, find a villain, take him down, save the world, but after losing her only allies, Jack Force, who ran off to protect her, and Kingsley Martin, who was captured and killed by the enemy, Schuyler has to face facts. She's gonna have to do this alone. From Kate Jacobs, we saw Medievally Blonde, vote yes on the pun, out from Magpie in hardcover. This is a fantasy novel. Based on Irish folklore, Medievally Blonde follows Cleena, a princess desperate to win back the prince who broke off their betrothal, and Rohan, a warrior determined to prove himself. This book includes a majority queer cast of characters and representation of chronic pain. From Gourav Mohanty, we saw Sons of Darkness, out from Ad Astra in hardcover trade paperback and ebook. This is a fantasy novel. Bled dry by violent confrontations with the Magadhan Empire, the Mathuran Republic is on the brink of oblivion. Senator Krishna and his third wife, Satyabhama, are trying to protect the Republic from total annihilation. From Arianna Reiche, we saw At the End of Every Day, out from Atria in hardcover trade paperback, ebook, and audio. This is a novel with possible fantasy elements. Look, you gotta draw the line somewhere, and we vote this one in to the science fiction fantasy horror genre sandbox. The death of a celebrity leaves Delphi with the job of closing down an iconic California theme park, leading to questions about workers who disappeared. This is a debut novel. And in our occasional reoccurring segment that we sometimes forget about for months, I want to tell you about The Wick by Juliana Baggott, out from Underland in trade paper, published in January. From the book review in Locus magazine by Karen Gussoff-Sumption. Juliana Baggott's latest novella, The Wick, is a paradox. It's short, abbreviated even, but also expansive. It's utterly unlike anything I've ever read, but also, somehow, the love child of Kazuo Ishiguro's Never Let Me Go and Carol M. Schwiller's The Mount. It's experimental and literary, making full use of the usually avoided second-person point of view and present tense, but utterly readable. It's a wonderfully puzzling book. Told in the voice of a Hull named Bukef, a mostly organic, shape-shifting, sentient creature built as a mech, a literal hard suit to be worn for battle. The Wick opens on a space elevator. The elevator doubles as a holding pen for both defective Hulls like Bukef, who accidentally killed a wealthy young boy under the direction of his Wick, or rider, and for decommissioned Kashems, or clones created as backups of children growing up in areas with high rates of mortality. Kashems are only held as these backups until approximately age 16. After that, their memories get wiped and they are held in facilities like the elevator storage until they are repurposed as breeding wombs for the next generation of Kashems or sold into service as prostitutes. The fate of decommissioned Kashems, while grim, is better than what awaits Bukef and the other so-called defective Hulls, who are held until they can be slaughtered and stripped for parts. That wraps up this week. Thanks for spending some time with us. Did you know Locus is also a magazine in addition to this booktube thing? If you like knowing stuff, I know you like knowing stuff, you can check out our website at www.locusmag.com or try out our monthly magazine in print and digital formats. The print magazine looks good on a coffee table and cues to your friends that you know some stuff. At Locus, we try to tell you everything relevant that's happening in the science fiction, fantasy, horror publishing space. The magazine has been around for 50 million years or something like that, and we started out as the late 60s equivalent of a blog, printed on a mimeograph machine, if you know what that was. Please leave us a like on the way out if you got something out of this. It means a lot to us and helps us reach more people. We appreciate your eyes and ears, and your likes and subscribes. Please do subscribe and turn notifications on so you know about this video when it goes up every week. The magazine and the YouTube channel are a labor of love. We are at Locus Mag or at Locus Magazine on most platforms. You can read more about the science fiction, fantasy, and horror field over at www.locusmag.com or support us on our Patreon. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. Come back and see us again soon, and we'll be here next week with more new books.